Live from Wayne Prophet Court, you're watching men's college basketball on LHSN as the University of Lynchburg Hornets play host to Washington Lee. Second meeting of the year between the two teams. The Generals looking for win number 4 in a row. Lynchburg looking to avoid loss 4 in a row. Going to be a fun battle between these two sides. TJ Wingert here to take you through all the action. It's game 1 of 2 to be played today here on LHSN on top of our softball doubleheader. I'm sure you've been keeping tabs on throughout today. Welcome up to the broadcast booth. It's going to be a really fun one. And really, when you talk about keys to the game, what does Lynchburg's defense have in store? Hornets played a stellar defensive showing the first meeting between these two sides. And WNL, how about this? First in the ODAC in scoring offense, almost 84 points per game. Does Lynchburg have an answer on that side of the basketball? Additional key to this contest, no TC Thacker for the Hornets. What does that mean? One, Miles Taylor inserted in the starting 5 in back-to-back games now for Lynchburg. Him on top of the addition of Landon Sutton in the starting lineup. What can those two pair up to try to make up for the lost production with no Thacker in the lineup? Of course, you have to talk about Thacker. Double-double potential. First in the ODAC in that category, 6th in the country with 15 double-doubles. A lot of talent to talk about. Let's show our players of the game. Jack D'Entremont, sophomore from Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. Had a really nice showing the first meeting between these two sides, 17 points, 9 rebounds. He is a nice scoring compliment to fellow sophomore Robert DeCibio, native to Sandy Hook, Connecticut. So those two players, keep your eye on the offensive side for WNL. And then for Lynchburg, it was a career day for Cam Savage. He had a career best 30 in the first meeting against WNL. And again, with no TC Thacker, there's points to go around for other Hornets. Cam Savage, a likely candidate to start filling in that production. He is still coming off the bench today, but he has had a lot of success in that role. Head coach this 5th year, man, Chris McHugh, currently the best winning percentage in program history for a coach with more than 1 year at the helm. Additionally, former assistant coach at Emory University, as well as Connecticut College and Mount St. Mary's. And on the other side, Hillary Scott, a man that needs no introduction if you're familiar with these broadcasts and or a Hornets fan, looking for a career win 204 today. Stage is set. We're getting set for the national anthem, so we'll step aside and come back with more. You're watching Lynchburg and Washington Lee coming to you on LHSN.
When you come to the University of Lynchburg to earn a master's degree in athletic training, you'll spend time in the classroom, but you'll also spend a lot of time in our top-notch facilities, learning from athletic trainers and working closely with our student athletes. In the Graduate Cadaver Lab, you'll learn about the human body in the best way possible, by actually studying the human body. This will provide a foundation to make you a much better athletic trainer. In the Athletic Training Laboratory, you'll get hands-on experience, practicing your skills, applying concepts from the classroom, and working with faculty on research projects. It's also where our hydrotherapy facilities are. This space is also used by students for studying and practicing skills outside of class time. In the Sports Medicine Clinic and Turner Gymnasium, you'll work with student athletes from more than 20 NCAA Division III sports teams, helping get them back to practice and into the game as soon as possible. As an athletic training student, you're a big part of the success of our sports teams and the success of the local athletic teams. We see this relationship as a win-win situation. You learn, and that helps us win.
Welcome back to Lynchburg, Virginia. Time to introduce the starters, but first, some additional context for this contest. It's the 51st all-time meeting, and guess what? We're tied up 25 wins for each team today, a rubber match of sorts. It's been alternating wins and losses over the last 7, and of course, second meeting this year, Lynchburg took the first of the season. That was one of the first conference games of the year, 82-69 final score, Lynchburg winning out in Lexington, Virginia. Now let's talk about the starting lineups for WNL. It's Sam Wise making his 4th consecutive start. Richie Manigault, Mark Lamondola, Jack D'Entremont, and Robert DeCibio, team's leading scorer, 18.1 points per game. And on top of that, how about 5th in the ODAC? And field goal percentage, 52.2%. So DeCibio not only scores in bunches, does it in a very effective manner. For Lynchburg on the other side, we talked about no TC Thacker, so more on the plate for Carrington Young down low, as well as Miles Taylor. Landon Sutton getting his first home start of the season, playing alongside Izzy Lockamy and Theron Suggs. In that backcourt, Lynchburg's lost 3 games in a row at the hands of EMU Randolph, and that was last week, and just the second home loss of the year for Lynchburg, and the most recent L was at Guilford this past Thursday. Meanwhile, the wins for Washington and Lee come over Virginia Wesleyan, and that's an interesting one to stop and look at because Lynchburg, not all that long ago, had a double-digit loss against Virginia Wesleyan to end a Lynchburg 3-game win streak. Instead, Virginia Wesleyan pushed their winning consecutive streak up to 6 in a row, but then W&L takes down the Marlins 83-58. Not necessarily a close affair there. Then after the win against Virginia Wesleyan, it was taking down Bridgewater at Bridgewater and then knocking off the Panthers at Ferrum for Washington and Lee. Some more implications for this contest. Looking through the lens of the conference standings, Lynchburg 6th in the ODAC, Washington and Lee 5th, 1 game apart. So if you're a Lynchburg fan, a win today, and considering the fact you would have taken both games against W&L in the season, you obviously hold the tiebreaker. Lynchburg moves up a spot to number 5 in the standings. That's a solid start, trying to regain some momentum as we are running out of time in the regular season. On the other side, W&L has a good chance to further push the Hornets behind you and have the chance to move up the conference standings. There's a handful of games being played today, and currently in the standings, it's Roanoke right next to W&L for that number 5 spot in the conference standings. And actually, this 5 versus 6, 1 game apart situation is the exact same scenario we'll find ourselves in once we get to women's basketball. The Hornets playing host to the other Hornets, Shenandoah University. But all that, getting ahead of myself, tip-off set from 4:30. At midcourt, Jack D'Entremont, and for the first time this year, Theron Suggs, the man in the middle for the Hornets. Today's officiating crew, George Kroger, Kelvin Oliver, and Reginald Kane. Tip is up. D'Entremont wins the opening possession for the Generals. Wise, a junior from Winchester, Virginia. His brother Gus, also a member on this team. You'll see him coming off the bench not too long from now. Lamondola gets to the free throw line. Senior, one of the 2 captains on the roster. Hand off. Manigault, 3 off the mark. Manigault, a 31.1% three-point shooter this season, a junior from Stewartsville, New Jersey. Landon Sutton, hailing from High Point, North Carolina. Eager to see what his role looks like for today's contest. Body-to-body defense for both teams. Sutton long 2. Just a touch short. Wise might have had the backdoor cutter Manigault for a moment, but regardless, Wise opens the scoring. Generals are up 2-0 to start. Second consecutive start for Taylor. He's fouled on the way up and now steps to the free throw line. And that first start of the year at Guilford, Taylor finished the game 4 of 8 shooting, 10 points on the night. Sophomore from Jamestown, North Carolina. So far this season, 57.1% free throw shooter. Good on the first, deficit cut in half. Take another look at the foul. Whistle went against Jack D'Entremont. It'll be interesting to see the strategy. Where does the offensive focus go for Coach Scott in these Hornets? And it could be something where Lynchburg tries everything they can to get to the free throw line. And when you're playing a player down, no TC Thacker, obviously, one of the ways you can try to counteract that and say, hey, if we can get Jack D'Entremont or Robert DeCibio in foul trouble, that's one way to have them feel a similar issue and play through similar pains that Lynchburg is going through today. DeCibio defending Young, who immediately passes it off to Lockamy. Back to Taylor down low. Young, far side elbow. Working against Manigault. Off the glass. No good. Rebound, D'Entremont. DeCibio, first shot of the day. Off the back iron. Again, more than a 52% shooter from the floor. Not often we see DeCibio miss, but D'Entremont has his back. Generals up by 3. First points of the day for the sophomore. Taylor out to Lockamy, far side 3, indeed. And in specific, the three-point shooting going to be a big thing to keep your eye on today for Lynchburg. At Guilford, Hornets went 6 of 20 from downtown. That's exactly 30%. It was the 6th consecutive game where Lynchburg has shot 31% from 3 or worse in a game. Here's another look at the 3 for Lockamy. 31% shooter from beyond the arc to this point in the season. 17:21 to go in the first half. Talked about it's 25-25 all time between these two teams. Lynchburg, though, with the edge here at Wayne Prophet Court, 18-12 against the Generals as DeCibio settles at the line. Knocks through on the first. DeCibio also a pretty solid free throw shooter, 70.4%. And here it's a 2-for-2 trip. Theron Suggs at Guilford, 4 for 19 shooting from the floor, 12 points, 0 for 4 from 3. Lockamy this time finishes inside the arc. Nice look underneath the cup, tied up 7-all. But to continue my point on Suggs, it's been a tough shooting stretch of late for the grad student from Raleigh, North Carolina. If you're a Hornets fan, you're hoping to see that turn around today. Suggs here, defensive task, loses Lamendola, the senior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Moves WNL back in front. Lamendola 5th in the conference in assists per game, 7th in steals per contest, all on top of nearly 8 points per game. Zone defensive look for the Generals. Lockamy wide open from 3, got it to go. Lynchburg ahead by a point. Lockamy with 8 already. And a timeout called by Coach Chris McHugh. Not immediate timeout. We will keep it here, and I'll give you a little bit more information about Coach McHugh. Again, program best win percentage at 67.3%. That's overall, 70-34 the record. Inside conference play, 46-20. That win percentage nearly identical, 67.7%. And if you go back to the 2019-2020 season, that was a big season for the Generals. Most wins in a year in over 3 decades. WNL went 20-6. That was the best record for this program since 1988-89. And Washington Lee also went 12-4 in ODAC play. Most conference wins in a single season. On the other side, Hillary Scott, former assistant coach at Penn State, as well as East Tennessee State, and a former player inside the ODAC over at Roanoke College, 2-time All-American with the Maroons. But the task for Coach Scott today, simply enough, find a win. Doesn't matter how you get it. End the 3-game losing streak, and then set your focus to Ferrum during the middle of the week. There's only 2 regular season games left for Lynchburg, 3 to go for WNL after today. DeCibio with 2 points so far. Takes the screen, thought about the tray instead. This is Gus Wise, brother of Sam, who's in the starting lineup. Top of the arc, DeCibio drives in. Young couldn't poke it away from behind. Layup no good. Theron Suggs picks up the loose ball, but simultaneously was standing on the baseline, so possession goes back to Washington and Lee. And with both Wise brothers on the floor, here's a fun anecdote for you. Gus and Sam, son of Tom, who played basketball at Wake Forest, and their grandfather, Ben Tatum, played baseball for the Demon Deacons. 3 to go for Gus Wise. Sure that'll make the family happy back at home. Off the hands of Wise. Officials initially signaled it was going to be W&L possession, then changed their mind. Suggs will inbound from the near sideline. Suggs finished with 15, as did Lockamy. First time these two teams squared off. Sutton finds Suggs, open for three, off back iron and through. A welcome start from downtown perspective for Lynchburg. Perfect. Shooting the basketball from beyond the arc. And now the Hornets get a miss. Chance to extend the lead beyond a single point. A 1-point advantage, the largest of the day for Lynchburg. Young got a good look, couldn't convert. Wise to the corner, bringing it out. Devin Panchel, senior from Belmont, California. DeCibio leaves it short. Tapped out by Wise. Rebound for Jack Lewis. And DeCibio finishes with no one around him. Generals back ahead by a single digit. 14:30 to go in the first. Lockamy hot to start, 8 points already. Sutton thought about the tray instead. Young lofts it up. Taylor draws a second defender in the form of Gus Wise. Jump ball the call. And one of our officials going to step in and be the mediator between Taylor and Wise. Another look at the jump ball. Possession's going to stay with the Hornets. And Sutton will have the honors to inbound from underneath the cup. Second start in a row for Sutton. Suggs gets his second three ball to knock through. 2-point lead, largest advantage of the day for the Hornets. And the offense early on, all but 2 points coming from either Izzy Lockamy or Theron Suggs. Lockamy with 8, Suggs with 6. That's 14 total points, 12 of which have come from downtown. Rebound Dutton, he finds Sutton. Running the length of the floor, stop, popped. Sutton won't see it drop. Izzy Lockamy with the offensive rebounds. Lynchburg garners another possession before it's poked away from behind by Panchel. Entremont drives in, backed out to Lewis, travels the call. Guilty party's Gus Wise. And that'll bring us to our under 14 media timeout. 2-point advantage for Lynchburg. 16-14 the offense. Back to where it was to start the year. Can that maintain itself? Find out when we come back. You're watching the Generals and the Hornets on LHSN. It's a 2-point lead for Lynchburg as the Hornets look to improve to 7-2 at home this season. Just last week, they suffered that second home loss on the year at the hands of their crosstown rival Randolph. And it was the first time the Wildcats had won in this building in nearly a decade. First time since February of 2013. Randolph took down Lynchburg on Wayne Prophet Court. Cam Savage on the hardwood coming out of the timeout. Here is the aforementioned Savage. Junior passes it off to Suggs. Turns the favor. Crossing right to left. Head fake. Savage finds Suggs. Long two. And it's good to see Theron Suggs shooting the basketball with a ton of confidence in the early goings this afternoon. Suggs now ties Lockamy with 8. That's a game high. Suggs without a miss. 3 for 3 from the floor, 2 for 2 from the perimeter. Now Suggs on the defensive side, trying to slow down Gus Wise. Suggs called for the foul. So the older of the Wise brothers on the roster headed to the free throw line. Gus Wise, a 65.1% free throw shooter. On the year, Gus Wise averaging just over 10 points per contest. But here, misses on the first. Wise had 11 points last time out for WNL at Ferrum. Scored in double figures in 2 of the last 3. Had 17 against Virginia Wesleyan. Narrowly missed that double figure mark with 9 at Bridgewater and then the aforementioned 11 at Ferrum. Played in every game played so far this year for Washington and Lee. Has one start to go with it. Jordan Parham checks in between the first and second free throw. Steps into the tray. Misses long. Looking long for D'Entremont. And Manigault uncorks it just a little too strong. Looking like one of the throws from Fox Field. We have our softball doubleheader coming to you on LHSN. Suggs has that range. Gave it a glance. Now gets the skip pass from Dunton. Dish to the corner. Parham drives in. Well defended by Sam Wise. Suggs with 8 on the shot clock. Misses strong. D'Entremont the trailer, but Dunton there to put a hand in his face. Manigault through the screen. 3-point shot, no good. Suggs gets the miss. Brings it up himself, finds Parham. Shot fake, step inside the arc. And a cold start to the day for Jordan Parham. WNL to take over with possession. Coming into today's contest, Parham averaging more than 7 points a game. Nearly 40% shooter from both the floor and from beyond the arc. But over the last 6 games, got a little bit better at Guilford. He went 3 for 7. Foul on the floor. More free throws on the way for the Generals. To continue that point about Parham, 3 for 7 at Guilford. And it was the first time that he had made more than 2 shots in a game since January 26th at Randolph when he finished that game with 19. All told, over the last 6, 8 for his last 31 shooting from the floor. And if you exclude the 3 made threes at Guilford, only 1 trifecta has fallen over that 6-game duration. Obviously, that's taken out and ignoring 1 big sample of that sample size. 3 made threes at Guilford. Nice repertoire of moves for Dunton. Lynchburg back ahead by 2. Illegal screen. Guilty party. Jack D'Entremont. Comes the 4th turnover of the day for WNL. Lynchburg with only 1 so far. Now the next step for the Hornets is seeing those turnovers lead to points. So far, only 2 points off of turnovers for Lynchburg. Savage elects not to take the screen. Transfer from Barton College. Works to his right. Nice bounce pass to find Suggs. Well defended then by Sibio. Connecticut native generates the stop. Sam Wise looking for help, finds DeCibio. Back out, Lamondola. Another turnover for W&L. Taylor, up and under finish. 2-possession lead now for Lynchburg. Wide open for three. That's one that Gus Wise is going to want back. Taylor lost him in transition. That trailer play can be dangerous. Shot fake. Suggs out to Savage, hoisting the three. Off the side of the iron, rebound for Wise. A lot of good looks in the early goings for Lynchburg, and even if they're not falling, you have to be happy with the offense and the spacing and the open opportunities that have been presented. Tapped out of play, 9:20 to go in the first half. Trey Pittman's going to check in for the first time this afternoon, checking in for Dow Dunton. Suggs subs out. Izzy Lackamy checking in. Here's another look. The finish from Miles Taylor, and they're going to make this into a media timeout, so we will take a quick pause, come back with more. You're watching Lynchburg and Washington and Lee, 22-18, your score on LHSN.
I was looking for a school that could provide me with the athletics, academics to pursue my career, a wind symphony to pursue my passion for music, and really have a nice general atmosphere. The professors here are really unique, their background and their passion for teaching. It's really a place where you can explore. Lynchburg gives you the opportunity to fail, but also get back up in that period of time and learn from your mistakes. I can make these mistakes within the school environment, but also with the support of other friends, and be ready for the real world when you graduate.
Two of the biggest Lynchburg fans you'll find in attendance, President Allison Morrison Shetler and First Gentleman Shetler in attendance. They make it onto every athletics event on the campus year-round. So it's not just LHSN doing the work, it's University President and First Gentleman doing the same. 2-possession lead coming out of the timeout. Dribble to the free throw line. Jack Lewis can't find any space. Kicks it out. DeCibio gets it to fall. 1-point game. DeCibio up to 7. His first 3-point shot to go. Still that zone defense. W&L came out playing man-to-man, then shifted to a different look. Lackamy foul on the layup attempt. And the Wake Forest, North Carolina native now steps to the charity stripe. 72.5% free throw shooter so far this season. Here's the foul going against DeCibio. And there are pros and cons that come with being 5'10". There you see one of the pros going up against 6'5". It's really hard for a player like that to avoid any sort of body contact. Arms getting crossed. Lackamy presses that advantage, and now if he knocks down the second free throw, will become the game's first player to hit double-figure scoring. Lackamy now has 10. 3-point Lynchburg lead. Hornets looking to snap a 3-game losing streak. The Generals looking to move their win streak to 4 in a row. Penchel over to Wise in front of Pittman. Jordan Parham steps up as the help defender. From one Wise to another. Gus feeds Sam for 2. Both offenses having everything they want and then some in the early going. Savage wants 3. Toilet bowls out. Lackamy the last to touch it. Generals with a chance to retake the lead, and they bring Drew Harrell, sophomore from Collingswood, New Jersey, off the bench. Shooting percentage for both teams, clearing 44%. WNL 3 for 9 from beyond the arc. Lynchburg 4 for 8 to start. And again, if you missed me talk about it at the start of the broadcast, Lynchburg's had 6 consecutive games shooting 31% from 3 or worse. That changes today. That will bring about good fortunes for the Hornets. Samwise blocked. Credit the rejection to Taylor. It's going to stay with Washington and Lee. 16 seconds to work with on the shot clock. Taylor has not looked out of place. Him and Sutton making their second consecutive starts today. Before the inbound can come to light. Foul called, and it goes against Cam Savage. Long 2, left short from Gus Wise. Foul situation, Lynchburg has 4. Washington and Lee with 3, make it 4. As Savage traverses to the basket. Unable to finish with the left hand, but head to the line for a pair. 7:37 to go in the first half. Savage had 30. First time these two teams met. After that, it was 10 for TC Thacker, not playing today. Thacker also had 12 rebounds, 3 blocks, 2 steals. That was one of his 15 double-doubles on the year. First free throw good for Savage's first point on the afternoon. And then it was Suggs and Lackamy with 15 apiece in that first meeting. Meanwhile, for Washington Lee, Jack D'Entremont had 17 points, 9 rebounds. DeCibio and Gus Wise each had 12. WNL had a tough day shooting the basketball from beyond the arc. 6 of 29 in that contest. That's 20.7%. Here working it down low. Good look. Manigault just couldn't finish. Lackamy with plenty of space. Unable to make WNL pay for it. Wise in transition. Now pulls it back out. Trying to go to the back door. Harrell, the intended target, tapped away by Pittman, and in transition, Taylor had it slip through his left hand, and that's one of those situations you want to see a turnover turn into points. Instead, it's a turnover gifted right back from Lynchburg to Washington and Lee. Second turnover so far for the Hornets. Mark Lamondola to bring it across half court. Nearly 4 assists per contest. DeCibio against Pittman. Now Lamondola trying to pick on Pittman. No room to work against the sophomore. Young back into the contest. Feed the big after coming through on the defensive side. Fading away, shot is strong, rebound to DeCibio. Like that look there for Lynchburg, excuse me. Get your big man doing the dirty work. Try to make it worth his while. And Pittman, it's really nice shooting motion, soft touch. It's been a little off of late. DeCibio again drives in against Pittman. Gets him in the air after the miss. DeCibio in the perfect location to get the offensive rebound and put back 2. 1 point differential once again. This is pretty much where we've been all afternoon so far, and Savage is going to call for a timeout. 30-second timeout for the Hornets. So a battle between number 5 and number 6 in the ODAC standings. Generals have a 1-game lead over the Hornets in those conference standings. So a win today for Lynchburg presents the opportunity to move up a spot in those standings. You won't get past Roanoke as Lynchburg fell to the Maroons in the only meeting of the regular season. So it's only a 1-spot jump, but hey, 1 spot helps all the more. Meanwhile, for Washington Lee, if you are able to take down the Hornets, you split the regular season series and create some distance between yourself and Lynchburg. In the middle of the pack inside the ODAC standings. ODAC tournament's going to get underway February 21st. Really excited for postseason action. Overlapping with the spring sports. We'll keep you up to date, all the scores going around the world of Lynchburg athletics. Game 1 of a doubleheader for softball, excuse me. William Peace comes out on top, 7-6, taking down the Hornets in their season opener. Game 2 in the bottom of the first. Also have lacrosse about to get underway over at Farrell. Additionally, women's tennis playing host to Virginia Wise. Plenty to talk about in Lynchburg, Virginia. Suggs for Dunton. Nice spin move. Dunton left himself too open. He's the last to touch it. You see the frustration at the end of the play. D'Entremont checks back in. Heading to the bench is Jack Lewis. Richie Manigault. Manigault over from the floor, 0 for 3 overall, 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. Also checking in for the first time today, Thomas Fayen, freshman from New York. Lamondola backing down Noah Bullock. Silky smooth just outside the restricted circle. W&L retakes the lead. Bullock attacks the teeth of that zone defense. Gets the feed from Suggs. 3 is through. Bullock hasn't taken too many shots yet this year. Less than 14% three-point shooter, but he's a threat from beyond the arc anytime he's on the hardwood. Here Bullock gets his hands on the basketball. It's going to stay with the Generals. Far side corner, Lamondola working against Dunton. D'Entremont now defended by Suggs. Pass to the corner. Shot for Fayen won't count. Travels the call. 4:14 to go in the first half. Big stop for Lynchburg. Now a chance to make the lead. Grow to 2 possessions. Lamondola is going to check out. And Gus Wise subs back in. And now looks like the Generals switching into a man-to-man defense. Coach McHugh trying to keep the Hornets on their toes. Kicked out of play. Stays with Lynchburg. Bullock with the honors to inbound. Suggs, stopped by D'Entremont. Trying to get to the baseline, step back, long 2, in and out. It was a 3 for 3 start to the day for Suggs. Now 3 for 5 overall from the floor. D'Entremont won't get an inch against Young. Round of applause for the stop for the transfer from Farrell. Harrell kicks it out. 3, Wise gets it. Gus Wise up to 7. Suggs dumps it off for Dunton. Defended by D'Entremont. Tipped away by the sophomore. In transition, Sam Wise works to his left. Retreats. Now into the hands of Drew Harrell on the near side wing. Drive against Bullock. Pass to the corner. Wise won't get far against Lockamy. Pass nearly over the head of Harrell. Shot clock's down to 5. Sam Wise drives in. Flings it up towards the basket. The buzzer sounds. No shot clock violation. Lynchburg trying to strike with confusion across the hardwood. Lockamy finds Dunton. What a pass. Unselfish play. Good for 2 for Dunton. Dunton now called for the foul. Harrell nearly got the bucket plus the whistle instead. He's going to the line for 2. Another look at the foul from the backside. Harrell did a really nice job just hanging, giving himself a chance. Ultimately, no good with the layup, but the first free throw ties this game up 31 all. Elijah Davis is going to check in, first time mentioning the freshman and son of UNC head coach Hubert Davis. And from what I've gathered so far this afternoon, the Tar Heels out to a hot start this afternoon. If you're a Lynchburg fan, you're hoping Davis has some of that luck with them in Lynchburg. Washington Lee ahead by a point. Pair of free throws for Harrell. His first 2 points today. Again, it's game 1 of 2 being played on Wayne Prophet Court. After this, women's basketball senior day. Davis gets the look, top of the arc. Nothing but nylon. Wise was looking for Lamandola. He'll settle for DeCibio. Not a bad secondary option. $12 points on the day for DeCibio. First player for W&L to reach double figures. 2 for 4 from beyond the arc. Davis looking for another. Not on this shot. .75 seconds to play in the first half. Screen from DeCibio. Penchel to the corner. Gus Wise elevates. 3 is long. Lynchburg currently in a spot to go 2 for 1, but you have to play your cards right here, because if you score too quickly or put up a shot, then W&L can try to go 2 for 1. Bullock. Give him the basket and the foul. We got to see that one again. Noah Bullock, mid-air adjustment. Attacks Wise. Initially goes up with the left, switches over to the right, tosses it off the glass and through. Not to mention the foul on the play going against Wise. Fantastic play for Noah Bullock. Up to 5 on the afternoon. And now a chance with a free throw, capping off the old school three-point play to make it a 2-point lead. Dow Dunton just checked out for the Hornets. Miles Taylor, one of the starting 5, subs back in. Bullock ready at the line. 37-35, Lynchburg in front. W&L, if they wanted to go 2 for 1, would have had to put up a shot within about 5 seconds or so to really give themselves a full look on the second possession of the 2 for 1. Instead, with a 13-second difference between shot and game clock, this will seemingly be the final possession of the first half for the Generals. Shot clock's at 8. Lamandola won't get anywhere against Young. Samwise trying to drive, gets to the basket. Whistles on the play, not on the shot, instead on the floor. Shot clock turned off. 14.8 to play in the first half. Now Lynchburg in jeopardy of not seeing the basketball again before we break for halftime. They back it out to Samwise. 8 seconds to play. Dual screen, top of the arc. Lamandola for 3. Indeed. A heartbreaking end of the first half for Lynchburg, and a much-needed boost for the Generals. W&L leads by 1. We've reached halftime in Lynchburg, Virginia. We're going to step aside and come back, talk about stats correction. We will keep it here and showcase the latest from the Lynchburg DanceWorks program. Once again, that was the Lynchburg dance program. Appreciate them coming out during halftime. Now we're going to take a quick pause, come back with stats from the first half. You're watching Lynchburg and Washington Lee on LHSN.
The biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. "100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it."
Hi, Mara Willis. How are you? Pretty good.
A lot of people go to the universities to find something to be a part of while getting their education. And when you come here, Lynchburg is that something. It becomes a family. It doesn't matter how long ago you had your professor, they still remember you, and they remember all of the hard work that you put in. They're always there for you, and they always want to do the best that they can to help you succeed. Here, you learn how to love one another regardless of what's going on or what you believe. You leave here better than what you came in. It's what the school's really good at doing.
Okay.
Okay.
We're good.
See you later.
A 1-point lead for Washington and Lee at halftime here in Lynchburg, Virginia. Fun first half between the Generals and the Hornets. Thanks for everybody for tuning in here on your Saturday afternoon. Game 1 of 2 of an LHSN doubleheader here inside Turner Gymnasium. The women's team celebrates Senior Day and are set to get underway at 4:30 this evening. After the first half, really exciting play for both teams. The offenses nearly identical in regards to the shooting percentage and the three-point percentages. Not all that far off. Lynchburg 6 for 12 from beyond the arc. Washington and Lee 6 for 14. And then both teams have gotten the free throw line and taken 7 attempts through 20 minutes. W&L 6 of 7. Lynchburg 7 for 7. Some of the additional stats I wanted to bring to light. 8 turnovers in the first half for the Generals, just 3 for Lynchburg, and those 8 turnovers for W&L has translated to 6 points the other way for the Lynchburg. You'd like to see that comparison be close to 1, basically, but not too far off there for the Hornets. And additionally, 3 turnovers for Lynchburg has turned into 0 points the other way for the Generals. And one of the other big stats so far, offensive rebounds, 7-1 lead for W&L at the end of the first half, and that's led to 13 second chance points, none so far for Lynchburg. So battle on the glass between two of the best teams in the conference at that. Actually, the 2 best teams in the conference for that matter. Lynchburg first in the ODAC in rebounds per game. W&L right behind them at number 2. That's going to be a big one once we get to the second half. Can Lynchburg end possessions, not get second chance opportunities to the Generals, and If not, can WNL continue to strike gold, right? Just because you get the offensive rebound doesn't mean you're getting points automatically. Generals have been really sound when they get second opportunities, making the most of them. 13 points on 7 chances. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty darn good at through the end of the first half. So will that trend continue once we get to the second half? Find out when we come back. We're going to take a quick pause, come back with some first half highlights, and talk about some of the individual numbers for both sides. You're watching Washington and Lee and Lynchburg on LHSN.
If I'm walking around over on the crowd side, I always hear someone yelling, "Hey Nat, take our picture. Hey Nat, get this," or something, or "Hey Nat, you got that shot?" So I'm always like trying to photograph the crowds and my friends calling my name. I think sports at Lynchburg unifies us as a whole. No matter what background we come from, what differences we have, and what experience we've experienced through our lives, it brings us all together and we have one goal, which is to win. As a photographer, I definitely get to capture the emotion and the feel and the atmosphere of what's going on during the games and what's happening in the crowd and with the fans. We have hugely dedicated fans here at Lynchburg. They come out whether it's rain, snow, sleet, windy, no matter what, they will come out and support their team and cheer them on. They will sit through anything. It brings us all together as one.
The biggest thing that I've taken from Westover is probably my interactions with faculty. I started working with Dr. Fryer. He's always available for help, and he makes sure that I get to do the experiments and not just be there while he does them. I didn't want to limit myself when I came here to just taking the prereqs for med school. I wanted to get a full, well-rounded education, and I definitely found that in the Westover program. It's given me the opportunity to keep playing soccer at a competitive level, but also it's given me the ability to be a student and to pursue other activities such as EMS. I 100% do Westover because it's not something they're going to regret, and it's going to be a lot of work, but so is everything else. It's just going to help build their education that they've already had and make them a better person for it.
Hi, Mara Willis. How are you? Pretty good.
A lot of people go to the universities to find something to be a part of while getting their education. And when you come here, Lynchburg is that something, it becomes a family. It doesn't matter how long ago you had your professor, they still remember you and they remember all of the hard work that you put in. They're always there for you and they always want to do the best that they can to help you succeed. Here you learn how to love one another regardless of what's going on or what you believe. You leave here better than what you came in. It's what the school's really good at doing.
Okay. You're good.
Less than 3 minutes away till we get to the second half between Lynchburg and Washington and Lee. All that and more coming to you on LHSN. TJ Wingert here with you. We're going to show some highlights from the first half. I'm going to talk about some of the individual contributions through the first 20 minutes of action. Game's highest scorer Robert DeCibio with 12, 4 for 8 shooting from the floor, 2 for 4 from beyond the arc. Also a pair of free throws to go with it. And he's the team's leading rebounder with 4 boards so far. Following DeCibio, 7 for Mark Lamandola, as well as Gus Wise. He has 7, 2 for 6 shooting from the floor, 2 for 4 from beyond the arc. Then it's 6 points and no misses for Jack D'Entremont. 2 for 2 from the floor, 1 for 1 from beyond the arc. And as I mentioned, 6 points through 20 minutes. On the other side for Lynchburg, leading scorers Izzy Lackamy in double figures with exactly 10. Also a pair of rebounds and an assist to go with it. Then it's 8 points for Theron Suggs. Opened the game 3 for 3 shooting from the floor. Missed his next 3 shots, so some good math. 3 for 6 through the first half. Still a pretty productive start to the day for Suggs. Also has a pair of assists to go with that. And then 6 points. The next highest scorer, Noah Bullock, without a miss from the floor so far today. Also want to take the opportunity to update you on scores for Lynchburg sports as game 2 of the doubleheader for Lynchburg softball out to a strong start. Hornets up 4-0. They're in the top of the third against the Pacers. Men's lacrosse just about to get underway at Ferrum. And women's basketball set to get underway at 4:30 this afternoon. No results yet for women's tennis. They started about 20 minutes or so ago. And also want to update you on scores from around men's basketball in the ODAC. This is one of 5 games already in action. There's one more coming at 3 o'clock. Shenandoah Randolph making that game set for a 3 p.m. tip. Randolph taking on Eastern Mennonite. Royals up by 13. Bridgewater taking on Guilford. Down in North Carolina, the Quakers up by 17 at the end of the first half. There's another one to keep your eye on if you're a Lynchburg fan. One game back of both WNL and Roanoke College. With a win today, you move past WNL due to the tiebreaker rules. You won't do the same for Roanoke, but Maroons currently trailing Hampton-Sydney in halftime in Farmville, 31-24. Tigers ahead of Roanoke. And the last game I'll make mention of, halftime and Virginia Wesleyan. Marlins up 42-35 over Ferrum, but the Panthers continue to show a lot of late season fight against some stiff competition. We'll try to keep you up to date with those scores, specifically the Roanoke and Hampton-Sydney game, as that does bear some importance on the potential ODAC seedings with Lynchburg. But of course, to be able to move up in the standings, the Hornets have got to be able to come away with a win today. Got to take care of your own work, and currently down by 1. It was a 2-point lead just before the buzzer was indeed beaten. 3-point shot comes courtesy of Sam Wise, Mark Lamandola, 3 of his 7 in the first half of action. And that brings us to where we are now. So let's talk about adjustments for both sides. And really for Washington Lee, I think it comes down to the defensive side. And if you can generate some more turnovers, Lynchburg with only 3 in the first half really comes down to trying to generate those miscues, mishaps, and things of like it against Lynchburg, and then trying to turn those into points your other way. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot to clean up. For Lynchburg, really it comes down to trying to control the defensive glass, right? You cannot concede 7 offensive rebounds, and even if you do, it can turn into 13 points. That's a near 100% hit rate, right? So trying to anchor down the defensive side, have possessions end when you get a stop, that's going to be my key adjustment for Lynchburg, as we are now set for the second set of 20. First possession goes to the Generals. Sam Wise opened the scoring today. He brings it across half court, near side wing. And a goal. Got a made shot in the first half. Pick and pop. D'Entremont without a miss in the first half. Back out to Wise. Manigault. DeCibio's the game's highest scorer with 12. Only 5 seconds on the shot clock. Near side wing. Sam Wise gets the 3 to fall. Lead up to 4. Wise, a 25% three-point shooter to this point in the season. But so far today, 1 for 1. Carrington Young takes advantage of a size mismatch against Manigault. Couldn't finish with a right hand. It's the same starting 5 that Lynchburg had on the court to start the game. D'Entremont down low, Lamandola. And additionally, same starting 5 on the floor right now for Washington Lee, as Suggs going to be calling for the foul. Stops the clock with 18:47 to play. First foul of the second half goes against the Hornets. DeCibia with the honors to inbound, gets it into Lamendola. Top 5 in the ODAC in assists per game. 3-point shot on the way. Manigault touches nothing but the bottom of the net. 6-0 run to start the second half. Lockamy eyes the three. Shooter's touch. And the Hornets enter the second half scoring column. Timeout on the floor makes it a 4-point contest. That'll send us to our first media timeout in the second half. 44-40 your score. Generals just edging past the Hornets. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more to watch between Lynchburg and W&L on LHSN. Lynchburg looking to improve to 7-2 at home this season and end a 3-game losing streak. Standing opposite of W&L looking for win number 4 in a row. The Generals looking to also split the season series with Lynchburg and trying to hold on to a 4-point advantage. Washington Lee with possession coming out of the timeout. A little over 18 minutes left until the regulation. D'Entremont tries to thread the needle to DeCibio, defended by Taylor. Back out, Lamendola. Finds DeCibio. Shot clock down under 10. 3 off the mark. Rebound for Young. No numbers advantage for Lynchburg. Instead, Izzy Lockamy, who now has 13 on the afternoon after knocking through the 3-point shot prior to our timeout. Young missed a gimme a moment ago. Not missing 2 in a row. Now Young called for body contact. Second foul of the second half for Lynchburg. Trio of subs on for the Generals and Coach McHugh, including the likes of Tevin Panchel, Jack Lewis, as well as Gus Wise. Wise off the bench had 7 in the first half, averaging more than 10 a game. Double screen, this one for Sam Wise. Panchel to Lewis. Wise to the basket, called for the offensive foul. Really nice play from Theron Suggs sliding over. You'll see the very last moment of this play. And Suggs puts himself in a perfect position just outside the restricted circle, generates the stop for Lynchburg, who find themselves down by 2. Made bucket here, a pair of free throws away from tied ball game. That was the 9th turnover for Washington and Lee. A team that has had some issues in that department this season, 11th in the ODAC, averaging 15.5 giveaways a game. Meanwhile, Lynchburg on the other side, very clinical with the basketball. 11.5 turnovers a game. How about second in the conference? Suggs in front of Lewis. Sutton, a wide open Lockamy in the corner. Rare for an air ball for Lockamy, but Miles Taylor there to clean up the play, and we have a tie ball game, 44 all. Washington and Lee picking up the pace, trying to generate a quick look. Handoff, 3 for Panchal. In and out. Also in and out of the hands of Lackamy. Wise gathers and pushes the Generals back ahead. Sutton is called for the over and back. You want to talk about an unfortunate bounce there. Sutton can't believe it. He had just crossed half court. And as WNL settled into that trap zone look, right as you cross half court, Sutton turned his back to the defender, and when doing so, the basketball touched the Lynchburg half. A game of inches works against the Hornets. Wise brothers standing in the near side corner. Top of the arc, DeCibio drives against Taylor, trying to get into the corner. Lewis finds a wide open Panchal. Gets past Suggs, 3 from Wise, misses it all. That was a chaotic defensive possession for Lynchburg, but the stop is all that matters. See Coach Hillary Scott looking for career win 204. Now in 14 years at the helm of this Hornets program. Sutton, long 2, touches the rim twice. Last touch by Lynchburg, and possession goes back to WNL. And if you missed me mention it, this is game 1 of 2 of a doubleheader after this. Battle between Lynchburg and Shenandoah get underway. Additionally, it's senior day for the women's basketball program, honoring the likes of Brooke and Meredith Feder, Mimi Oliver, Kate Kolb, Erin Green, Lizzie Davis. Another over and back. Turnover number 5 now for Lynchburg. And the 2 empty possessions comes on the heels of talking about how clinical Lynchburg is with the basketball. So a couple of rare, unorthodox miscues gives WNL the chance to, for the 3, make this a 3-possession game. Gus Wise down low against Lackamy. Didn't have full control of the basketball on his way up. Big stop for the Hornets. Lackamy with a head of steam. Goes up with the left, foul on his way there. Lackamy with the team best 13 to this point. Take another look. D'Entremont, the back end of that play, couldn't believe it, but our camera angle looked pretty evident where I stand. Timeout on the floor. And full timeout called by Coach McHugh. Perhaps trying to look and freeze Izzy Lackamy, who to this point in the game, Lackamy 2 for 2 from the free throw line in the contest. 15-10 to play. Second meeting of the year between Lynchburg and Washington and Lee. 82-69 win for the Hornets in the early goings of ODAC play. That game, of course, coming with T.C. Thacker in the starting lineup. Maybe you're just joining us. No T.C. Thacker this afternoon for Lynchburg. Didn't have the grad student from Madison Heights, Virginia at Guilford, and the 71-59 loss at the hands of the Quakers, and he actually got hurt about midway through. The loss to Randolph, did not play in the second half of that contest for Lynchburg. So learning to play without a star is no easy task, but that's the job for the Hornets and Coach Scott today. Additionally, it doesn't help when you're playing one of the better teams inside the conference. WNL currently 5th in the standings. Additionally, the #1 scoring offense. Top in the league in both field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, second in rebounds per game. All these stats to just tell the story of how hard it is to play, specifically WNL, without T.C. Thacker in your starting 5 if you are Lynchburg. The Hornets have certainly held their own, only down by 4. They can cut the deficit in half with Lackamy now stepping to the free throw line. For today's play, 72.5% free throw shooter. As silence falls across Wayne Profit court. Lockamy good on the first. Now with a game best 14. Lockamy had 15 first time Lynchburg took on the Generals. That's exactly his total now. Mark Lamendola picks up his dribble. Near side low post, gets it out to Jack Lewis. Not a shot attempt so far today. It's a 4-out, 1-in set. Landon Sutton generates the turnover. Lost control. It was off the body of Devin Panchel and out of play. So possession stays with the Hornets as Down Dutton and Cam Savage check back in. Savage had 30 in the first meeting between the two teams. Today, 0 for 2 from the floor, just 2 points. He was our Lynchburg player to watch due to how much success he had against W&L in that first meeting. Here throws it up for Jamar Chase. Check that. That's Theron Suggs. Locking with a nice feed to Dunton. Young gonna step to the free throw line. Little Super Bowl joke aside, hopefully everybody is gonna have a nice day tomorrow and get to enjoy the big game. But of course, we got to get through all the action today. Another look at the foul going against Carrington, or going to send Carrington Young to the free throw line. Foul was called on Robert DeCibio. Young no good on the first. 36.8% free throw shooter so far this season. Grad student, a transfer from Ferrum. Chance to cut the deficit in half. And does just that. Lewis takes screen right. Gets the pass back from Panchel. 10 seconds to work with. Deep three. Lewis gets it to go. First made shot of the afternoon. The junior and Maryland native. 4-point lead again for W&L. Young finds Suggs. Catch and shoot. Three indeed. Give a three, get a three. Makes it 51-50. Gus Wise, no room to drive. DeCibio, team best 12, but scoreless in the second half. Just over 6 minutes in. Panchel gets a three of his own. A near 45% three-point shooter. Now 1 for 1 on the day. Long two for Savage. No good. Young called for the foul. Third foul to go against Young. Third to go against Lynchburg in the second half. Drew Harrell, Sam Wise check back in. And Miles Taylor subs in now for Lynchburg. So some fresh legs on the court for each side. Basketball can resume, 13:20 to go. 51st meeting all time between the two sides. Both teams with 25 wins against their respective opponent. So a rubber match of sorts. Who gets the edge at the end of today's contest? I'm excited to find out. DeCibio to inbound from the far sideline. Just in front of the Generals bench and fifth-year head coach Chris McHugh. Foul called, goes against Miles Taylor. Now a fourth foul to go against the Hornets. We'll continue to keep you up to date on the foul situation as both these teams, once they get to the free throw line, have the ability to put this game away. If you're W&L playing with a lead, get good looks at the line, they could run away with it as Harrell leaves the three short. Meanwhile, Lynchburg first in the ODAC. And free throw shooting percentage, that could be a pathway to make the comeback Wise picks up his dribble. Layup short. Offensive rebound, Harrell. Dumps it off. Gus Wise, the beneficiary off of the feed. 6-point WNL lead. Ten offensive rebounds today for the Generals. Lockamy misses off the front of the iron. Lamendola. DeCibio in transition. Perfectly executed fast break. Timeout on the floor. 12:15 to go in regulation. And that will send us to our under 14 media timeout. We'll take a quick pause. Come back with more. Generals ahead by 8 over the Hornets. All that and more coming to you on LHSN.
My name is Joshua Carr. I am a senior. I am a theater major as well as a history minor. I live in 5th Street, the historic black neighborhood. The money came in, transfer, scholarship, all that. I appreciate that greatly. I'm smart too. So they gave it like, you smart, here. You know what I'm saying? You come here to do a job. I came here to do a job. A student's job is to get that degree and make something of ourselves. I love the diversity here. I love the different interests of people here. I can teach somebody that doesn't know what I know, and that person can teach me something that I don't know that they know. So that's what I love about my school. They respect that and they allow us to showcase and voice our expressions. That's what you get here. You get diversity, you get different people with different knowledge coming together, sharing information and helping each other out. That's what I love. That's why I say people. I love the people here.
12 minutes and 15 seconds. All that stand between these two sides. And we're 5 and 6 in the ODAC standings. One game apart from one another. Generals one rung ahead of the Hornets in the ODAC standings. Additionally, WNL looking for win number 4 in a row. Lynchburg looking to avoid loss number 4 in a row. Quick discussion between one of our officials and Cam Savage coming out of the timeout. Lynchburg will have possession. Some full court pressure, though. Another different look that Coach McHugh has brought out. And again, trying to keep Lynchburg on their toes. We've seen primarily man-to-man defense, but we've seen runs to the zone trap. Now we see the full court man-to-man. That's one of the ways you can try to elevate a scoring defense that's currently 8th in the ODAC, allowing teams scored north of 76 points a contest. Try to give that opposing offense different looks. Try to keep them on their toes. Way to combat where you might be a little weak on that side of the basketball. Theron Suggs good on the first free throw attempt of 2. These represent his first 2 free throws on the day. Suggs with 12. Trails just Izzy Lockamy leading the way for the Hornets. Suggs now with 13. Jack Lewis, Richie Manigault checked in during the timeout for WNL. Lewis, ball handler, finds DeCibio. Freed away from Dunton, Euroed past Savage. Nice sequence of moves from DeCibio. He's got 16 on the day now. 8-point lead once more. Lockamy for Dunton. Shot fake. DeCibio in the air. Dunton, no good. Gets the O board and fouled on the second chance opportunity. Well, it was a really nice look that Dunton created by himself with the head fake. Unable to convert, but doesn't give up on the play. You see the offensive rebound and the foul that sends Dunton to the line. Talking with Dunton the other day after the loss against Randolph, he noted he used to take over 300 free throws a day. Try to get better in this area. This is on the first. On the year, a 66.7% free throw shooter. And Dunton noted, I'm a big. I play through a lot of contact. It was just an area I needed to get better at. He goes 1 for 2 on this trip to the line. 5 points today for Dunton. Harrell leaves the three well short. Good stop for the Hornets. Savage makes it a 5-point game. Just points 3 and 4 today for Cam Savage. Through the screen, Manigault, dish to the corner. Lewis had a deep three. Handful of minutes ago, game time that is. Manigault still 0 for from beyond the arc. Lackaby tried to go behind the back. Deep three for Suggs, rattles through. Suggs pumped up, as is the crowd on hand inside Turner Gym. We have a one-possession game. Wise works to his left, hard screen set by DeCibio. Whistle blown, foul called. It'll go against Lynchburg, and in specific down Dunton. 5th foul to go against the Hornets, and both teams now with 5 fouls in the second half. Trio of subs on for the Generals, including Jack D'Entremont, Mark Lamendola, and it looks like the final of those subs being Tevin Panchel. Meanwhile, for Lynchburg, 3rd sub checks on in the form of Jordan Parham, the other 2 being Elijah Davis and Carrington Young. You see Young and Parham on your screen now. D'Entremont also just checked in and finds Amendola, who did the same. Amendola drives. Put back 2 for Gus Wise, and that was a huge area of strength. We talked about it a lot during halftime. 19 second chance points for Washington and Lee. 3 the other way for Lynchburg. Davis 3, well off the mark. Lamendola delivers a dime up the length of the court. D'Entremont will settle down and find Amendola to set up the offense in the half court. Gus Wise, with 11 today, one of 2 players for the Generals in double-digit scoring. Close call there. Dunton nearly created the turnover. Instead, officials blow the whistle. Possession will stay with Washington and Lee. A little over 9.5 to play. And a violation delivered to the Generals on the sideline, presumably to Coach McHugh. Didn't see a whole lot of other motion on the bench on the General side. Gus Wise, defended by Young on the far side. 6 seconds on the shot clock. D'Entremont working against Dunton. Gets it back out. Tevin Panchel. Shot fake. Buzzer sounds. The 3 was good, but it won't count. Lynchburg stands and comes through with a stop. Made bucket here, pair of free throws, and we have a one-possession game once again. This is about where we've been sitting for the majority of this contest, between 2 and 4 point differences for either side. All that to say, it's been close from start to finish. 4 out, 1 in set still for Lynchburg. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Savage changes hands, finishes with the left. 62-60. Gus Wise from downtown. Off the back iron, rebound Davis. Savage had it ripped away by Panchel. Stellar play for the senior. Lamendola brings it back out. D'Entremont ahead of the free throw line. Sophomore with just 6 points today, without a miss, 2 for 2 from the floor. Turned over by Gus Wise. Nice heads-up play for Davis. Carrington Young for the tie. No good. Offensive rebound. Trey Pittman. He'll go up with a second chance opportunity. No good. Young had a look. Couldn't convert. Whistle on the floor. Possession's going to stay with Lynchburg. A fortunate sequence of events there for the Hornets. A number of looks inside the painted area. First Young, then Pittman, then Young again. Pittman, ultimately, one who draws the contact. 7:43 left to go in the second half. The timeout on the floor is going to be moved into immediate timeout. We will step aside and come back with more. Generals hold on to a 2-point lead here on LHSN. Welcome back to Lynchburg, Virginia. Time for the final stanza between Washington and Lee and the hosting University of Lynchburg Hornets. Carrington Young to inbound. After a series of offensive rebounds and misses from underneath the cup between Pittman and Young. Young out to Pittman, top of the arc, now back down low. Carrington Young in front of DeCibio. Acrobatic left-handed layup attempt. No good. Three from the near side wing, left short by Fagan. We've seen the freshman sparingly today. Davis to Pittman, catch and shoot. Lynchburg reclaims the lead. Big three to fall for Pittman, his first made basket on the afternoon. Lewis had it poked away. They'll say last touch by a Hornet. Suggs and Lockamy check back in. Lamondola re-enters the contest for Washington and Lee. Sam Wise will inbound from far side. Defending the inbounder is Suggs. 6:49 to play, 17 seconds on the shot clock, so plenty of time to work with for the Generals. Wise finds a wide open DeCibio, and he can't make Lynchburg pay. Second chance opportunity nonetheless for the Generals. Got 19 second chance points, make it 22. DeCibio from way beyond the arc. W&L ahead by a pair. It's a 12-5 lead in offensive rebounds. Generals over the Hornets. In regards to second chance points, 22-3. Edge, Washington and Lee. Suggs with an answer. Ties this game up 65 apiece. Less than 6 minutes to play. DeCibio denied by Pittman. Gathers the miss. Spots up. Mid-range J is short. Lamondola backs it out. D'Entremont with an inch or two to spare. Keeps it in. Shot clock down to 8. Sam Wise to DeCibio. The sophomore fouled on his way to the rack. Robert DeCibio, fourth in the ODAC, averaging 18.1 points per game. He's got 19 this afternoon, and after that foul from Theron Suggs, his third on the afternoon, DeCibio with a chance for points 20 and 21. More importantly, if you're a Generals fan, opportunity to move W&L back in front. First of two, no good. DeCibio, a 70.4% free throw shooter before today's game. DeCibio has reached double figures in every game but two so far this year. Obviously, that trend does continue as he now has 20 for the Generals this afternoon. Timeout called. Called by Coach McHugh. Full timeout. Chance to talk about the defensive adjustments, and these timeouts become scary when W&L takes it because coming out of breaks, Generals have thrown Lynchburg a variety of different looks. We've seen full court man-to-man. We've seen traditional man-to-man. We've seen zone traps as soon as you cross half court. All that to say, just like a hitter at the plate, you don't know what pitch is coming your way. Speaking of which, let's give you an update. Lynchburg softball squad dropped game one of a doubleheader against William P. 7-6. Currently in the top of the fifth and ahead 6-1 over the Pacers. Looking to split the afternoon series. And you'll see a lot of that Lynchburg softball program over the next couple of weekends. Next Saturday, a doubleheader against Methodist. Then Sunday the 20th, taking on Averett. As for the men's lacrosse program, already up 7-0 over at Ferrum. Just getting underway in the second quarter. And women's basketball getting set. They'll take on Shenandoah, second meeting of the year between both Hornet programs. Shenandoah taking the first. Lynchburg looking for revenge once we get to that portion of the day. Teams out of the timeout. 5 minutes, 27 seconds left until the conclusion. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in, spending some time with us on your Saturday afternoon. It's been a fun game to watch. Hopefully you've been able to enjoy it from the comfort of your home. 1 point lead for the Generals. Lackamy, left-handed finish. Lynchburg now holds the 1 point lead. Both teams playing with some good tempo. Don Tremont out to Manigault. Lamondola in front of Suggs. Suggs a little shaken up after the screen. He'll stay in. Sam Wise open for a moment at the top of the arc. Now lays a screen for Lamondola. Trying to dump it off. Don Tremont the intended target, but offensive foul. The call. And it goes against Mark Lamondola. And that becomes the 7th foul to go against Lynchburg. This one not going to send the Hornets to the free throw line, as it wasn't. Or instead it was a foul pertaining to ball control. Obviously fouls like travel, double dribble, over and back, et cetera, won't send players to the line for Lynchburg, but any other foul, rest of the way, will at least generate a 1-on-1 opportunity. See some of the women's basketball players on your screen waiting patiently. It's senior day, and an exciting day at that. And it's a team with a plethora of seniors that are key contributors, including Brooke Meredith Vetter, Aaron Green, Lizzie Davis, Kate Kolb, who's been stellar since moving out of the starting lineup, Mimi Oliver. So hopefully we'll have you stick around, and we'll showcase those senior day celebrations before the game gets underway. Lackamy goes to the same spot. Won't finish this time round, but gets the offensive rebound. Young backs it out. Suggs defended by Lamondola. Davis catch and shoot. Three indeed. Elijah Davis with his second three-point shot. And he pushes the ledger up to 4. Davis now calling for the foul on the defensive side. That's the 7th to go against Lynchburg. That means free throws, or at least one on the way. Another glance, the 3 for the freshman. And a bench reaction, of course. Icing on the cake. Over the last 6 games, Lynchburg has not shot better than 31% from 3. Today they're shooting 55%. Say that's a pretty big difference, excuse me. The Hornets play, why they've looked so energized and holding their own against the #1 scoring offense in the conference. Jump ball the call, alternating possession. Hornets take over. A tick over 4 minutes to play. Manigault subs out. Jack Lewis, player returning to the court for the Generals. Suggs leads the way with 18. 6 of 9 shooting, 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. A far cry from 4 of 19 and 0 for 4 against Guilford. Davis feeling good. Mid-range jumpers long. Sam Wise in transition, trying to take it himself. Loses it. Poked away by Davis, gathered by Suggs. Raleigh, North Carolina native, attacks the rim. Layup is short. Loose ball, last touch by Washington and Lee. Big chance for Lynchburg here. Stretch the lead either to a full 2-possession advantage at 6 or with a tray ball. Make this a 3-possession contest. Young will be the inbounder. Lofts it up to the center of the court. Seemingly nobody knew. Down Dunton. The first to it. Spin move. Suggs. Layup. Off the mark. Lamendola. Found on his way to the rim. And will settle for a pair of free throws. Lamendola, this is one of the areas where he's had some struggles. 51.7% shooter from the charity stripe. Davis called for the foul. 8th to go against Lynchburg, 2nd to go against Davis. And Lamendola, no good on the first. 1 point shy of becoming the 3rd player for WNL to reach double figures. Leading the way is 20 from Robert DeCibio and then 11 from Gus Wise. Lamendola goes 0 for 2 and stays at 9, but stop me if you've heard it before. Generals get the miss. DeCibio makes them pay. Now 26 second chance points from 17 offensive rebounds today for WNL. Pass taken away by Lamendola. Dunton was looking for Suggs, who nearly got it back for the Hornets. Instead, Sam Wise working against Izzy Lockamy, who's calling for the foul. Wise takes a trip to the line. Chance to move WNL in front. Same that could be said about Lamendola can be applied to Sam Wise, a 48.4% free throw shooter this season. All Coach Scott can do is watch. Wise starts with a make. Additionally, that was the 9th foul to go against Lynchburg. Next whistle against the Hornets means a guaranteed 2 free throws the rest of the way for WNL. Just under 2.5 to play. 1 for 2 trip. Off the fingertips of Izzy Lockamy. We're tied up 70-all. Inbound set, inbound for Washington and Lee. Lamendola quickly got the basketball, dishes it off. DeCibio with a game-high 23. Denied from behind by Dow Dunton. Dunton doesn't get carried away, but happy with the result of that play. Solid round of applause from those in attendance inside Turner Gymnasium. Lynchburg with a chance to retake the lead. Savage Only 6 points today. Suggs. Now Lockamy, 10 seconds to work with. Rises up, finishes over Sam Wise, 72-70. Hornets in front. Poked away by Dunn. Lockamy, Euro. Might have been blocked from behind by Lamandola. Figure that might be the call as possession's going to stay with the Hornets. Minute 43 to go. Let's take another look at it. Instead, it looks like that layup was just a misfire from Lockamy. And off the body or hands of a WNL player. 100 seconds to play. Lockamy for three. Indeed! Generals looking for the answer. DeCibio, free throw line, out to Wise. Tray is long. Savage the last to touch it. It'll stay with the Generals. 68 seconds to go. After the three from Lockamy, he leads the way for the Hornets with 22 points, not far in front of 18 for Theron Suggs. And in the absence of T.C. Thacker, who else but a pair of grad students and a very veteran team? It could have come from a lot of different players, but it was Lockamy and Suggs picking up their production. They have 40 of the team's 75 points this afternoon. Then there's a cluster at 6. Noah Bullock, Miles Taylor, Cam Savage, and Elijah Davis, all with 6 points today. 5 for Dow Dunton, 3 for Trey Pittman and Carrington Young. On the other side, Robert DeCibio has been carrying the load offensively for the Generals. Game high, 23 points, 4 of 8 from downtown. On top of it, 7 rebounds to go with it. 11 points then for Gus Wise, 10 for Sam Wise, followed by 9 from Mark Lamandola and 6 from Jack D'Entremont, our player to watch. So both players to watch, D'Entremont and Cam Savage, with just 6 points this afternoon. Lynchburg with a win will move a spot ahead of WNL Generals. They can overcome the 5-point deficit, create some separation between themselves and Lynchburg. Lamandola no good. Offensive rebound. This one gathered by Sam Wise. Down low, D'Entremont, been quiet today. Working against Young. Block is the call. And Young slow to get up. Fourth foul to go against Young. Here's another look at it. D'Entremont going to head to the free throw line. Young is back up on his feet. Less than 45 seconds to go after today. WNL plays host to Eastern Mennonite. It's upcoming Tuesday. Lynchburg hit the road on Wednesday to take on Ferrum for the second time this season. Young's okay. He'll stay in the game. Jack D'Entremont readies at the free throw line. 65.1% free throw shooter. No good on the first. Trailing by 5, less than 45 ticks to go. The margin for error as slim as it gets, including missing at the free throw line. And WNL has done themselves no favors in that department. 8 for 14 as a team. That's 57.1%. Make it 9 for 15, which grows to 60%. Full court pressure. Lockamy gets it into Pittman. 2 defenders in the vicinity. And as Pittman found Dunton, timeout called by Coach Scott. So now 42.2 to play. And this is always such an interesting spot to watch college and NBA alike. Players can do so much. They're so talented. Things I can only dream of being able to do. But now this game really comes down to, can you execute an inbound play? And if so, can you get it across half court next? Then can you convert on your looks at the free throw line? If any of those become a no, the door's ajar for Washington and Lee. And that is the beauty of college basketball this time of the year. Again, the ODAC tournament not far away. It'll begin on February 21st. And again, the seeding implications for this contest, if the score holds, Lynchburg leapfrogs WNL, sweeps the season series, and also improves to 7-2 at home and starts our doubleheader with a W. The Generals can mount a late-game heroic comeback. They'll stay in that number 5 spot in the standings, barring a potential Roanoke loss against Hampton-Sydney. Those two teams well into the second half now. Buzzer sounds, players onto the hardwood. And we'll get to see the conclusion between these two teams. It's been a valiant effort between the both. This is one of those games you look at and it really does feel unfortunate that one side's going to go home with a loss. Pittman will have the honors to inbound. Elijah Davis just checked in. He's the lone new sub for either side. Lynchburg lined up across midcourt. Pittman finds Davis. Now with Suggs, Pittman finds Lockamy wide open underneath the basket. Lead grows to 6, 32.8 seconds to play. Izzy Lockamy, game high, 24 points. 7 of 12 shooting from the floor, 4 of 7 beyond the arc, but no points easier than that. How about the feed from Trey Pittman? In the face of 2 defenders, delivers a perfect pass halfway down the length of the court and sets up Lockamy in a spot to where that may well be your dagger, folks. Only a 2.8 second difference between shot and game clock. WNL needs a 3, turnover 3, and that's just to force overtime. That was a huge shot, making, the win probability chart. That basket made it go up a fair amount for Lynchburg. But nonetheless, Coach McHugh staying diligent in the timeout now. It's interesting to think about who might get the basketball in this spot. The Scipio's been the go-to scoring option. Both Wise brothers have been solid. Gus Wise with 11, Sam Wise with 10. Each with a made three-point shot today. And then there's Jack D'Entremont, who's been quiet for the most part. 7 points today, our Generals player to watch. He had 19 in the first meeting between the two teams. He's obviously a threat to score at any moment. But D'Entremont will have the honors to inbound. Full court pressure for Lynchburg. Noah Bullock checks in, as does Miles Taylor. Some extra defensive reinforcement for Lynchburg as they look to hold on ahead by 6. Wise crosses left to right, gets to the rim. No good on the layup, but obviously won't go down as a field goal attempt. Foul on the floor. Wise heads to the line, where he's 1 for 2 to this point today. And how different do you look at this game if that basketball sits on the rim? What if it flushes through? Then you have a free throw to make it a 3-point game, and anything's live at that point. Theron Suggs checks back in. Carrington Young heads to the bench. 22 seconds left to play. Wise needs both of these. Leaves the first short. And Coach McHugh ultimately got to the loose basketball. WNL now as a team, 9 of 17 from the free throw line. get their 10th make from the line. Makes it a 5-point game. Sub on for Lynchburg. It's Elijah Davis. Manned up by D'Entremont. Inbound is into Pittman. He is fouled. The sophomore travels the length of the court and will have a pair of free throws. Or excuse me, just one guaranteed. Gotten so accustomed to seeing Lynchburg calling for the foul, 2 free throws the other way. That was just the 8th foul to go against WNL, so we're still in 1-1 territory for Lynchburg. Pittman before today's game, 53.8% free throw shooter, misses on the front end. Gets the miss after it was punched out by Dow Dunton. Dunton has come through with a couple of huge hustle plays. A block here, a steal there. On this occasion, jarring it loose so Pittman can get the hands on the basketball. And ultimately the result of the play is Cam Savage standing at the free throw line. A 71.4% free throw shooter this season. Good on the first. 6-point lead. If Savage converts on the second, it's certainly your dagger. Savage, in and out, then through. And that all but puts this game on ice. 3-possession lead. Savage checks out. He's got 8 on the afternoon, but the last 2 as big as it gets. Wise 3, no good. Suggs now going to get the free throws to really seal the deal and grow the margin a little bit more. Lynchburg's going to elevate to 14-9 on the year, 8-6 in conference play, and a win means a sweep of the Generals in the season series and ends a streak of 7 consecutive meetings, alternating in wins and losses. And it also allows Lynchburg to leapfrog WNL and take over the number 5 spot in the conference standings. ODAC postseason tournament not far away. Another team to keep your eye on throughout the rest of this afternoon. Lynchburg now will be tied with Roanoke for the number 5 spot. And it does look like Roanoke is still trailing Hampton-Sydney. And that obviously would be a massive shift and might move Lynchburg even further up the standings, excuse me. DeCibio gets a 3. Back to a 5-point contest and another full timeout used. Another look, DeCibio has been fantastic. Everything advertised and then some. Averaging 18 points a game before today's contest. Well, it's only going to grow even more. He's got 26 today against the Hornets. To give you an update on that Roanoke and Hampton-Sydney score, that game has gone final. Hampton-Sydney wins 70-64. So Lynchburg gets even more help from the rest of the conference as Roanoke now 8-6 in conference play. Lynchburg with a win will have the same record. Won't overtake the Maroons due to a tiebreaker. Lynchburg losing to Roanoke earlier this season. There will not be a second meeting in the regular season, so Lynchburg will still be just behind Roanoke in the ODAC standings. But a win for Lynchburg does leapfrog them past WNL to take over the number 5 spot in the conference standings, while WNL will fall to the number 6 position. And assuming the score holds, WNL will be 10-10 on the year, 8-6 in conference play, clustered there with Lynchburg and Roanoke. This is just game 1 of 2, coming to you from Wayne Prophet Court on LHSN. Women's basketball celebrates Senior Day and takes on Shenandoah at the conclusion of this contest, plus 45 minutes. Davis, the latest Hornet to get fouled, steps to the free throw line. Davis, the son of UNC head coach Hubert Davis. Tar Heels got out to an 18-0 run to start today's game, from my understanding. Obviously a little preoccupied at the current moment, but gotten word that the Tar Heels got into a hot start, and Elijah Davis made his presence felt this afternoon. That free throw good. Now 7 points today for the freshman. Made a couple of big threes in this one, 2 for 4 shooting from beyond the arc, all told. Davis now with 8. And we'll check out to bring Miles Taylor back into the contest. 2.5 seconds. All that remain in regulation. Don Tremont free to roam. Gets it in. Lamendola's deep three, left short. Final score, 82-75. Lynchburg sweeps the Generals for the 2021-2022 regular season. Again, the Hornets now 14-9 on the year, 8-6 in conference play, and the number 5 team in the ODAC standings. And Lynchburg ends a 3-game losing streak. Furthermore, now 7-2 at home. WNL now 4-4 on the road, 10-10 on the year, 8-6 in conference play, and with a loss, it ends a streak of 7 consecutive meetings between these two teams, alternating in wins and losses. 3-game win streak comes to a close for WNL. They'll be in action Tuesday to take on EMU. Lynchburg, next time you can see them in action is Wednesday at Ferrum. That game will come to you on the LHSN radio network. Hope to have you with myself on the call over in Ferrum. That's going to do it for us. Game 1 of 2 on a doubleheader. We'll step aside and come back in about 40 minutes or so for the women's basketball clash against Shenandoah University. Hope to have you with us. But for the meantime, for my director Sam Rice and the rest of our fantastic LHSN broadcast crew, we are signing off.